Now in this lesson we're going to have a look at the drama of a stormy sky. You can see in this photograph here in the Scottish Highlands how you've got very distinct, almost black and white clouds, and this very light area actually over the tops of the mountains and the hills, but almost accentuates the threatening element of these storm clouds that are almost funneled straight down this valley. Now what I've done here is to put a base colour in of phthalo blue and white, but also a little bit of raw umber mixed. I've lightened it off a little bit in the foreground because we're going to use this picture as the basis for the exercise. I'm going to just paint in very quickly a hint of these mountains. Again, not too much detail because the exercise is all about you learning to paint the sky. Right, now I've just knocked up a very quick mountain scene. All I've used is this 1-inch brush. You can see that most of the colours are still stuck to the brush and it's just sweeping colour. We'll have a look at this in much more detail in the mountains DVD. Right, now before we actually start the stormy sky and the clouds, just look at the atmosphere that we already have. Simply by painting the sky colour, more or less the same depth of colour all the way down to the horizon. Do you see how by not having a lighter area at the horizon, how that alone creates a very threatening stormy sky? Now if you wanted to, you could almost leave the picture as it is and you have a very threatening stormy sky without any clouds at all. But that'd be a bit cheating really, because it wouldn't really be a lesson. So let's have a look at how to paint some very stormy and angry clouds. I'm going to start off with the number 5 filbert, and I'm using the same colours that I've used to create the rest of the landscape. That will make sure that we have a unity within the picture. So the first thing I'm doing, obviously, I'm just quite happy to pick up some of the colours I've already used because we're not going to have many highlights in the clouds. And I'm going to add right away some of that raw umber to give us these sort of grey clouds. I'm going to add a little bit of the ultramarine blue, and I'm actually going to add a little bit of that, not too much, just take some of that out, some of that permanent rose. Now if we look at this picture, because this is the one I'm going to use as the basis for the cloud formation, but I'm going to bring in some of the colours that we've got here in this sky. So you can see here we've got a dark formation here of pinky brown clouds and a purpley colour here, very pale purpley grey on this side, and then a whole different variety of sizes of cloud going off into the distance. So you can see that I'm holding the brush almost in an open cupped hand way, and I'm painting the clouds in a sort of a circular scrubbing motion. You can see the way that's working, and already you can see that lighter colour. Let's just emphasize that a little bit more. You can see that lighter colour there is sitting on top of, or over, in front of that slightly darker grey there. I've just add a little bit of ultramarine blue to that. Again, it's given another subtly different cloud colour. I'm going to bring the big 1-inch brush in now, again just to give a slight variety of brush stroke. So we're going to use some of that raw umber and the ultramarine blue, obviously with a fair amount of white. You don't need to have it too dark to make it look dark and angry. You can see how light that looks on the palette. And then if we put that in, oh, you can see now the way the blue is mixing and the brown is mixing sort of separately, giving us quite a different technique altogether. You've definitely got to keep the flat-ended brush on the move in sort of C shapes, because you can see this. If you're not careful, you'll end up with sort of hard edge clouds, but it's fine to get plenty of paint on, and as long as you keep scrubbing and spreading that paint out. And don't forget, as I've said before, clouds are subject to perspective, just like any other landscape feature. So even these thunderclouds, as they get further away from you, will get smaller in size and scale. Okay, let's just have a look back at the filbert brush again. Right, this time I've introduced a little bit of that permanent rose, but it does give that sort of purpley effect. But you can see how already the different colours are starting to emerge in the sky. You can play around with this to your heart's content. You've got to be careful you don't overwork it, but certainly when you're dealing with these sort of angry clouds, you can go back over and a little bit of that raw umber mixed into the white. Right, I'm just currently on this little 1/2 inch flat brush. I've probably overplayed this because I've been trying to use as many brushes as possible to show you how things work. I've used the flat brush here, the 1/2 inch flat. We've used the 1 inch flat, and I've also used this big brush in exactly the same way as we did the clouds in the basic cloudy sky. What I've also done here is to put some lighter colours in. I'm just finishing this off with a hint that maybe brighter weather is just around the corner. But just to complete the picture and to tie the sky to the rest of the landscape, what I'm just going to do is add in, using lemon yellow and a touch of that white, that gives us not an absolute white, but it will look like white when you paint it. And some paper towel, take the thick off, you don't want too much on, but just here and there, if we just catch, let's have a look, a little bit of light on the hillside like that. It could be any brush you use, and I just happen to use the brush that I've got in my hand like that. Just a little hint there like that, and maybe just in the fields below. It's that weird light that you get when you do get stormy weather. Just take that out like that, just drag that out. Not too much, don't overplay it. So there we have it. You can see we've used several different brushes and a number of different colours, not mixed on the palette but really mixed in the sky, giving us a really dramatic stormy atmosphere, and we've knitted everything together by putting a hint of the extraordinary light that you get on days such as this. So there we are, the stormy sky.